Good morning. Starting off. Um, Sometimes it feels like everything runs fine and there are hardly any notable bugs to care about, and then suddenly, boom! You don't feel like that anymore. So, over the night, my time, it landed a lot of bug reports. Now the number bumped up to 57. I was just reading up on the latest ones just before I started the stream. Um, so first we start off with the IMAP fetch broken, which I just commented on. I think the IMAP fetch is it's a slightly changed behavior. We fixed a bug in 7.62, which made us use slightly different IMAP commands based on the URL contents, and I think that triggered some problems for some applications. So it's not really a bug, but we fixed a bug that changed behavior, and that causes some unfortunate side effects for users. So another bug. That's one. 3398, 3397. So this is different or not? Is this due to the same reason as 3398? IMAP. And I tend to use these labels on the bugs to well, I group them for rather about what kind of area the bugs are in, but I also use them so if there are no flags, I know that I haven't really triaged them yet, so I need to give them some attention and see what it's all about. 3396. FTP and nobody not working properly. Yeah, the option nobody is it's not nobody, it's nobody. It's a bit fun. Name. Okay, so this is FTP. So let's set the FTP one. When we download a file via FTP or URL with set to nobody, we see output coming with this used to work in older version. Okay, this is these headers are sort of made up HTTP-like headers for that we generate for when we for FTP for some according to some conditions. I should just check. Okay, let's use when I want to do FTP, I usually go to FTP funet.fi because it's still a FTP site that I know is around. So he asked for a file. All right, he asks for this. This used to work in older version. I think it's supposed to work exactly like that. So if we ask for example, the fav icon, why they have that, I don't know. If you use capital I dash V, no user necessary, and we want to output the text.txt. And let's use my own build. There are no fake headers here. Test. And there's no file created either. So what happens? Oh, yeah, well, there are certainly fake headers. They are in there. So if I remove the -v, I will see. Yeah, there they are. This used to work. I don't know. What does he mean? Going back to the browser to read it again. And there's the bug in case you want to follow along. So what? I can try a slightly older version. It does that as well. So what is the problem? I don't understand. I don't understand. What is the problem? What happened that you didn't expect to happen? Okay, so let's wait for some input on that. Next. This is then 3394. I like his little sad line there. Okay. I did this. I expected that it will print a change cipher spec message from server as well, like change cipher. But instead it is skipping it and printing only the text message, which is finished. It will mislead the user as though the server is skipping change cipher spec. Yeah, this is going to be messy, but okay, let me give it a look. We've changed this a bit recently, I know. So if I use his commands, try to straight copy like this on my current build, bam, what happens? Well, it changes. It doesn't say client hello. No, it looks different. I'm just going to say he's reporting this on a older version. 758.0 updated OpenSSL. It's a Ubuntu system. Yeah. E.g. blah 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 TLS change cipher. Please add the verbose for the server-side change. But we don't add stuff. We just show what TLS is sending to us. So I don't think I'm not too into the details. Let's look at the details. The output says here are stuff from yesterday that we worked on. So we have a different, here's a file in the same directory. So OpenSSL is the file that has all the OpenSSL specific code for curl. So let's take a look. The TLS handshake, there it is. TLS RT type. RT, what's RT? It doesn't matter. So this is callback. This is a callback for OpenSSL. So it'll call this and allow us to output but we're certainly not ignoring any specific message just because it's a cipher change. I seem to recall some other bug about this. Let's see if we have another bug. We have 15 open bugs with SSL TLS, but is it that? To see the negotiated cipher after TLS renegotiation. Seems like it's related. 2943. Is this similar to note that the output is slightly updated in current versions. Cipher renegotiate. Good morning. I'm doing well. I'm just a bit, perplexed about the number of bugs that ended up in my lab this morning. But then I have something to do. Yep. So, renegotiate. So I'm switching back and forth between the browser here because I want to read up about this. I don't understand quite exactly. I expected that it will print a change cipher spec message from the server. From the server. Yeah, I should have a Santa Claus hat to make it more Christmassy. But I don't have any around. I should get my kids here to be Santas. I'm going to go back, change cipher. Yes, I think it makes sense to use sclient to figure it out, but I was trying to just understand what the point of the bug report is. I'm not sure I understand. He wants the, well, he says he wants the verbose for the server side change cipher spec, and I'm trying to understand what we can do if we even get that. I don't see us not showing anything, so I'm not sure what it is. Maybe I should just run a debugger on it and see. So okay, let's I can just, I mean, when in doubt, just run GDB on it, right? So GDB on this thing, and if I set a breakpoint on this SSL TLS trace and we run it, and it's been a while since I checked this tracing stuff. 5 bytes of data, blah blah blah. Guess that is the data. TLS handshake. Okay, so I hate it when GDB interferes with it like that. It does work if I just run it. Doesn't work when I GDB it. But he complains on this change cipher spec, but it sets 1 byte of data. I don't understand what the 1 byte of data. Let's do like this then. Instead of V, we use trace ASCII dash. Kaboom. Let's see what it says in there. Okay, maybe I should just trace ASCII log txt, and then I'm going to load it into this log txt. Cipher spec. Okay, that wasn't very informative either, so let's use the trace option instead. Boom. And then we'll get even more junk here. It's a single byte with a byte code of 1. Nice. I don't know what to do about that, but okay. Oh right, and he wanted the server side I'm not sure what the server side is supposed to mean. We don't know the server side, we only get data from the server and to the server. Client key exchange. Maybe if I was better at TLS details, I could have figured this out. So let's do my standard procedure then. Let's ask. Is this similar to 2943? I also slightly interested. I'm not sure I understand what this means. To the verbose callback. It shows what it gets. What? What server side messages that curl gets what server side is this? So maybe you can help me out here to understand, because I don't understand. Yeah, the thing is, it's really hard to second guess exactly what he means here, I think, in general. So I think it's often better to ask more to get to narrow in on the details rather than guess a lot myself. So I think it's fine. I bounce back questions on the bug reports, and then hopefully they will come back with more details and help me out to narrow it down better. And here's the same guy asking another TLS verbose thing. Set the label. Okay, I expected the TLS change cipher spec to be decoded as adding. Okay, but this is already fixed. If the client decides to change to another cipher, there won't be a service. Yeah, it might be that. Yeah. I'm not sure actually how much of a TLS person this guy is either. So maybe he's talking about something that he didn't understand either. So, and in this case, this other bug, 3393, seems to be asking for. He says, please remove the misleading client hello, and I think he's asking for something we already fixed. Again, he's using the old Ubuntu version. So I wonder if it's that Peter Wu fixed. You mean on the memory leak? Oh yeah, I'll get to that. So because yes, I got they actually fixed the bug for me. So they did a PR last night. So it was clearly a bug in our backend. So we didn't free up everything that we should do, which I think was interesting, that we only get it when we're actually using threads and not without threads. But it was a genuine bug, and there's a PR. I'm going to merge that. I think we can take that as a sort of a sidetrack here, because added cleanup for CISL. It failed the build, but that wasn't a real failure. It was one of these false app. In particular, AppVeyor tends to fail build every now and then, which is annoying, especially since it takes forever to complete, and then it fails 1 out of 8, and I figure it out, and I have to rerun that to get everything green. But in this case, everything else is green, so I'm pretty convinced that all the other 7 AppVeyor builds are green. So I'm fine with just merging this. So I could actually do that right away. Oh no, sorry, Daniel is going to do that. So he self-assigned it. So I'm sure he will merge this as soon as it goes green completely. Daniel is always in the IRC channel too, so we'll sort that out in no time. I also, of course, I messed up my pull request yesterday for the embed TLS fix, but I also did another update to that yesterday, so that should also go green later today. I continued to poke on my HTTP 0.9 removal fix. Basically, it turned out that, of course, I had broken well, like this. I'm going to do the very conservative route about HTTP 0.9, so I'm going to continue support it. We are going to continue support it for 6 months after this coming release. So 6 months from 6.64.0 we will support HTTP 0.9 like before, or like we've done since, I guess, the dawn of times. But I'm introducing 2 options. Well, I'm introducing one libcurl option to say support it or not support it, and the same style of option for the curl command. And both the libcurl and the curl command will accept HTTP 0.9 sort of explicitly. And then we can switch to default in 6 months, and any application that still wants to do 0.9 can just set this option already from the next release, and it'll just continue to work like that. But anyway, when I did that tool change to set support this by default, it changes the output from the --libcurl command, and the --libcurl command generates it generates a C code for the same command line that you're using. So if you write a curl command line blah 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 and you add --libcurl file name, it'll generate C code for that command line. And now that command line, well, now that C code will always set the HTTP 0.9 option as well. So I had to update like 8 bug test cases for that. And I changed the name of the libcurl option, and so on. So I got some fix-ups here. So, and when I changed the name, I of course forgot to edit the symbols and versions, and yeah, fun times. This just proves that the CI stuff, that's mostly from me being sloppy when I do my pull requests, so I sort of can continue. I've done a lot of updates to this now, even though it was supposed to be a simple little fix. It is now 36 changed files. So yeah, not as a small fix anymore, but of course the actual libcurl fix is really small. I'm not even using C++ mostly. I actually use C mostly since I quit Mozilla. Since Mozilla is C++, well, Mozilla is the Firefox code base is C++ deluxe, monstrously big chunk of, well, I've quit now, so I can be honest, but it's really messy. And actually, one of the benefits of not working with Firefox is not having to get entangled with all that C++. And now I can go back to my own clean, nice C code. Well, maybe not all the time, but at least for now. And I so appreciate it. So yeah, sure, I could do other languages, but call me crazy, but I have my hands full with curl and libcurl stuff. So I stick to work with this, and I let others do the other things, like working with bindings on top of curl and so on. So I don't really do that. I stick to poke on curl, and as you see, and my work is not quite done yet. When we could get 2, 4, 6, 7 bugs added the latest 24 hours, and I mean, it's not really any end in sight for this. So back to this misleading client hello. It's not there in the current version. If I prefer Firefox or Chrome, well, if you're looking at this browser here in the window, it is a Firefox browser, and it's I am not sure. I mean, I've been using Firefox now for many years, and I'm on Linux, so basically I have to pick between Firefox and Chrome, and in general I would say that I prefer Firefox. Yeah, they're quite similar. I don't ever really evangelize to people what to use. Use whatever you like. I think it's hard to tell people what to use or not. I think I don't like the monoculture that we're running into with Chrome for everyone, and they have a large enough market share as it is. I think it's good for us to make sure that other engines survive. Plus, I like Mozilla as a company, as a concept, and so on. And I, of course, have a lot of friends at Mozilla who work on Firefox still. So, and yeah, my last patch merged in Firefox was just days ago, and yeah. And I can use my own DNS over HTTPS, of course, which I did most of the code for. So I'm actually using Do all the time. So when you're looking at this browser here, it is using DNS over HTTPS all the time, full time. And I like that. I like protecting my DNS results. And yeah, I get a lot of pushback on my Do efforts, but let's ignore that for now. So this is a fixed bug. It doesn't say this for me, so I'm going to ask or say that this is already fixed in the current version. This is how it looks for me on 763. And how does it look for me in 763? This reminds me that I've forgotten to bump the version number here in the when you build from Git, it always says it appends this /dev text on the version number, and it says unreleased in the release date string, because that is when I build a release, it sets the release date and it removes the dev string. But I haven't bumped this. I know the next version is going to be 764. I should bump that. But okay, one thing first. First, I want to look at his exact command line, and I want to show him how it looks for me. His command line says like this. Boom. I have a debug build, so my debug build outputs more random crap, like this state change. These state changes, they're not there in the real build. They're only there in... But okay, he was complaining about the client hello after till on this line, change cipher. So I'll just show a little piece like this. Maybe I could include that one. Copy. And then I'm going to boom. Comment. And okay, one more to go. Oh, this is a fun one. Okay, I think these are two interesting bugs. I saw them yesterday. I didn't really dig into them, but let's do it now. Or let's first like make the easy one. I'm going to bump the version number that is shown in the output, because in the release notes that we're working on right now, it says 7.64.0 at the top, and we know that there are changes in here, and the changes are they are already sort of mandating that we bump the version number according to our standards for version numbering. So I'm just going to change. It's the same number on 3 different places, but they're written differently. And I can't really combine them into one either, because I have different scripts that parses this file in different ways, so I'd better not rock the boat there. I'm going to just do like this. Sometimes I forget to write git curl var bump to 764 for next release, because that's what it's going to be. So I can push that. Boom. And then it's good to rebuild configure, because configure is using that. Configure is one of the scripts that parses that version in the local header file. So okay, boom. No, not like that, because now it has like that. So we're going to this bug. Exceeding max file size once breaks future downloads on same HTTP2 connection. HTTP2 Pacman, Arch Linux. Do they say Arch or do they say Arch? I don't know. So there's an option called max file size, which is one of those old options that I probably wouldn't agree to these days, but it actually checks the file size that the server reports in the headers, and if the file size is larger than X, refuse to do the download. so I'm reading the bug over here. Downloading, response code, max size. Wait, content length 29. Oh. Alright, but I saw that Dave here posted a smaller standalone program that reproduces the problem. That's excellent. Let's just get that then. I like small reproducible programs that can reproduce problems. So back here I have my little debug directory, which is a good directory to build debugging stuff in. Max size.c, wrong paste. There's the right paste. Oh right, so he's doing returns 404, but response body exceeds max file size. Okay. So I have my make file also it always builds the file debugit.c, so I always use a symlinks like this, so that the debugit.c is the actual file that I want to debug, and then I build it with this make file. And it will actually link with a static version of curl, and since in my regular debug builds like this I have a static build. So there it is, quite big thing, so I can run it and let's see what it says. Yikes. Was that the same bug? Doesn't look like that. Oh, I bet that is one of those debug build messages, maybe forcibly. It is. This looks very similar to the bug report then. Okay, so max size. $16K. Maximum file size exceeded. What does it do when it reaches maximum file size? Is of course then the maximum file size exceeded. It returns an error from read-write headers. Oh right, it shows it on two different places, but here it's if has another check here if the number parser overflows, then we know that it's a really big number. So if there's a limit and we can't even parse it because it overflows, we know that it's exceeded the number. But okay, and returns error there on file size exceeded. It's and in both cases it should close the stream, and that should be fine enough. I'm going to, let's do like this, debug log. Then I could well, I don't know if I stream regularly. I've been streaming a few days at least. So I might stream regularly. It really depends on my mood and how many things I have to stream. But I'm going to try it. Maybe not as much during the Christmas weekend and so on. I'm going to, well, take some time with my family. I'm going to travel. I'm going to be abroad for a week. But well, in the new year, I'm going to try to do some more streaming. Maybe set up some regular weekly thing or twice a week or whatever. I think it's fun. I think it's a bit slightly harder to actually get into debugging while actually still talking to myself like this or talking to you and on the stream. But it's also useful. I think it. And I appreciate communicating with you at the same time, so do say whatever you want to say in the meantime while I sit here trying to fix my bugs. Maximum file size exceeded, kill stream, transfer returned error. Yeah, that seems to be the right thing to do. Connection to host left intact, so it kills the stream, or it should kill the stream. Maybe it's something wrong. I think I know what it is. Maybe. Maybe we don't read. Yes. Well, I don't know. I have this problem. When stuck on the stream and I sit here blabbing, I forget to drink my coffee, and now it's really cold and not very tasty. I'm not going to touch that. So yeah, it's clearly too little coffee here. Coffee shortage. I should probably take a little moment in a while and refill my cup. But first, I think my problem is this. When I cut off the stream due to it being too big, there's going to be data on the stream already, but that's, should be fine. But it wouldn't surprise me if that is what is causing this little hiccup. Alright, that's transfer.c. Let's read write data and it returns. I might have to add some printfs somewhere. Where do we do this stray data read? Before trying, I think I know, but let's check it out. Right. It is exactly what I thought. So we so that yes, that's, I think it's related to this. So when we see that it reports a too big size, we cut off the stream from the connection, but we don't drain. I mean, we stop reading from the stream, but we don't drain everything from the connection, so there are still some remainders for that stream left on the connection. And then when we check, is the connection still alive, which is what this is. Con is dead. Connection is dead. It checks if it's truly dead, because we want to, when we want to reuse a connection, which we then do in this subsequent request, we check if the connection is dead first before we use it. And checking for a dead connection is not always straightforward, especially not with HTTP2. If you haven't touched the connection for a while, there might be new frames on the stream. It might either be a dead connection, and if that connection dies TCP-wise, it'll be signaled as readable. So if we read it and there's nothing there, it was closed. But we can also read it and read out HTTP2 frames from there, and then they might be old frames or ping frames or whatever. So I think I need to figure this out. And in this case, it seems to... let's go back to redebug again. Webpack and try to... The connection doesn't appear to work correctly anymore. Max size, where are you? Oops, this is not supposed to be a long. But on Linux, on 64-bit Linux, it doesn't matter because they're the same size. This is actually supposed to have a curl of T type. But here it doesn't matter. This hangs, eventually it times out. Oh, sorry. That will then break. Okay, so it's this one that fails first due to that. So if I remove that, things will work, right? Yeah. Okay, so let's do like this. And so I'll have debug.log, working debug.log, and I'll rerun it again with maybe I need to recompile too. And boom. Fortunately, they will spew out so much things in a different way, so I can't just easily compare them now. I mean, I can't just run diff on them. Diff debug log and working debug log. Too much. Too much numbers and hex numbers and addresses and stuff. But they're using the same stream IDs and everything, which is exactly what I expected. And it certainly seems like it fails to create. Well, it says using stream 5. So it has created a new stream, and it sends this request, which actually doesn't look like this, but it shows it like this. It shows HP1 style, but it doesn't actually look exactly like that because it's HP2. So, okay, this doesn't really explain anything because it is using the same connection again. So my first test, which is a little bit of a blind test, is to make sure that we stream close. Maximum file size exceeded. Can't spell. The stream close function, it has this reason for why it wants to close a connection or a stream, but the reason is only shown in debug builds. So this string is actually not going to be used by anything in release builds. But it's really useful when debugging things to have it remember why it decides to close connections or streams. So, will this make a difference? Doesn't look like that. Right, it already says so. It already kills the stream, so it doesn't really add anything. So let's remove those again. Kill stream. That's a good question. I think maybe most other stream error conditions are more like when we read the entire frame. I think this is a problem when there are more frames for the stream when we cancel the stream. But it's a good question. Maybe this is just a generic problem with cutting off a stream when there is stream data left on it. It's also always question of this interaction with NGHP2 and figuring out exactly how that behaves. And also, in this case, I'm not sure exactly. What if there are actually more frames coming? I think I need to get some more debugging on the actual HTTP2 framing layer. Maybe I should see if I can fire up a Wireshark and see what's happening. Yeah, it's not a generic problem with stream errors, because we just the other day we fixed some other problems. We fixed what's it called? This use the go back to HTTP 1.1 error code for streams. Since when we switch to HTTP 2 by default for we switched to HTTP 2 by default for libcurl in a release recently, which I think is good. HTTP 2 and this is the bug. This is the bug. So we changed to HTTP 2 by default for HTTPS connections in libcurl, which we didn't do before. So it's supposed to help. My plan was to make it help applications all over to go to HTTP 2 and enable multiplexing by default. So application that would use the multi interface and would just suddenly start use HTTP 2 more and multiplexing, and it would make things better for most applications, and I think it does. But it triggered problems for NTLM using applications, because NTLM then is connection-based authentications, and they don't like you can't do HTTP 2 with NTLM, and I ran into that problem, and especially with I know that the Git for Windows people, I think they were the first, or possibly the one who suffered from this problem the most, and they, or at least Johannes there, fixed the problem. So he made sure that we're now handling this HTTP 1.1 required error code from HTTP when the stream error, connection error, the stream error, right, in HTTP 2. So we had to go back and retry on HTTP 1.1, and we actually nowadays we also catch, if we pick NTLM as the authentication method to use, we sort of downgrade even before we try the next connection. So it's actually fixed it in 2 places, but we didn't. Well, of course we didn't see this error then, because then we downgraded to 1.1 in the second request, so we wouldn't reuse that HTTP 2 connection. So maybe it is a generic problem. Maybe I haven't seen this before. And yeah, NTLM is a horrible thing. And I was actually in curl even worse is negotiate, I would say, because negotiate is some hybrid Kerberos NTLM thing that can be request-based authentications, but can also be connection-based. And no, I don't like those. And they're really hard to make use in, since they break ordinary HTTP paradigms. They are or a source for headaches all the time. So back to this bug, frame error. I need to the crazy thing is that it looks like everything looks fine in the log, but it just doesn't get anything back. So now I'm going to move things away from my other screen here, and I'm going to do here we go, Wireshark, and we're going on this one. Okay, so this is now my full left screen, and we are going to fire up Wireshark here. Kaboom. And okay, Wiresharking TLS connections, and now we need to remember how to do the SSL keylog for curl, which is an awesome way to debug curl TLS connections. Where is my terminal? Here it is. And when I change screen, it grew far too big. Shrink it a little bit, like this. So SSL keylog file is a lovely TLS key, I think, because I tend to use a generic one, or I mean one. Where is it? Preferences. Come over here. Too many windows. Protocols, and they support a lot of protocols down to SSL, because why call it TLS? Where is SSL? Where is it? There it is. TLS key. That's correct. Pre-master secret log file name. Yeah. So I can use that, and I can use SSL keylog file, and I'm going to use a filter on the host name. Which host name am I using? I'm using a really fun host name called mirror ams1.nl.leaseweb.net, and I'm capturing it there. Does it work now, you think? Debug log. It does! It says something at least. Oh, it stopped there, right? So this too uses a little bit too big font. Maybe can I? Yeah, I can. What? Looks totally broken. can have it like that. Okay, so that was an interesting. Clearly not good. Back to HTTP2 stream. This that con is dead. I'm going to try to see if there's more to read from the socket. Maybe. I'm going to have to add some. I think there's a. I have a define here called debug HTTP2. I'm going to enable that. It'll output a lot more of the HTTP2 details. So if I do that, I might get some more clues on what's going on. Stream 7. Okay, from the beginning. So here we can see when it shows the actual HTTP2 request. And that's how it looks. I mean, it uses these method path scheme authority that are HTTP2 specific headers. They're not actually, I mean, they're using header compression too, but it shows this HTTP2 style, and then it shows the HTTP1 converted version to just make it look like HTTP the way we were used to back before HTTP2. Got settings, max concurrent streams, enable push. And here's the first response, HTTP2, a lot of headers. Yeah, I was thinking about how to, if I should rather try, maybe move that check, or maybe in a better way signal that there's an error and then make sure that we drain. I mean, we stop the stream, but drain all the data from the library and from the socket. But right, it's immediately in the header parsing, which then, yeah, right, exactly. So that's a header frame in HTTP2, so it doesn't even get to the data frame, which probably follows already, most likely at least. So it'll return here with an error, and there will be data left. And my thinking is then that maybe if we consider that is fine, and it'll trigger this, it will go kill stream because transfer returned error. It'll go back to multi-done because the transfer is done, but we have potentially a lot of data sitting for this stream, in maybe already passed to the library, but maybe also just in a socket buffer. So when we want to reuse this connection here, we haven't drained it completely. So when and this function, the con is dead. Exactly. Do I send the reset stream? I do send it, but I'm not sure I do it for this particular case. I guess I don't, but I'm also not sure. Well, then it also depends on how NGHTTP2 deals with it. If I send a reset stream, if I have entire frames, I don't remember exactly how it does, but I think, yeah, if I go here and I'm going to check it now, exactly what we do. I think we send reset stream, but let me check. That's so we did that, and then we come here, and I think it says, yeah, exactly, premature in this function, so it will go drained transfer. It says I should check the drain transfer function. If premature, so it will send reset stream because we closed the stream prematurely, and it even makes sure that this reset stream gets sent. So I think maybe drain, here it says drain transfer. I should do a drained transfer. Well, right. It doesn't really drain it just marks it as not necessary to drain anymore. Yeah, so I'm back to the con is dead. I'm going to try to loop this to see if we can read more. It's a generic problem for us because when libcurl doesn't do anything with the connection, when all the transfers are completed, it just leaves the connections there. So it doesn't have any background handling of connections. So maybe when we go back to reading a connection again, possibly after a while, there might be new frames on that connection that we need to deal with. They could be ping frames or stale frames from when we stop the previous transfer, and those are what we are trying to deal with here. And in this case, we're only doing one read from the socket. And potentially one read isn't enough to drain the socket buffer from the previous transfer. That's my current thinking. I can at least try it out and see what happens. While not dead, and nread. And some fun debug output. That's visible in the output, and let's try it. That went fast because something went wrong. Right, because then it'll just consider it dead immediately. Okay. Okay, but if we read at least once, it's not dead. Read something. If we read something, it's not dead. So if we do like this, drained bytes. Nope, I would say. What? No. What is this? Pause ID. Something is... Something is wrong here because it's this is stream 3 up here. It closes the stream closed, and then it still says pause ID 3 down here, and I think that's the stream ID. I think that's the closed stream. I think that's I think there's something that doesn't... On stream close. There's something that it doesn't clean up properly when it closes that stream somehow. That was different. But now I can I should remove my drain thing there. I don't think that was very good. I'm going to just try the pause. Okay. Copy that. Revert the entire file. Debug again. And again. I think that works. Remove the debug and see. It says so much. Well, there's no timeout now anymore. That is just the question if it actually behaves correctly, the rest of it. But it sets the max on this handle, but it reuses the handle again to do the other transfers. And the other ones, they don't time out anymore. So maybe I should make a patch and see if I can get the reporter to try it out for us. If I clean it up first. I think this is... It should be 2 debugging material because it's not going to be interesting to anyone. Maybe I should do it in another order, like this. Stop the pause stream. Yes. Okay. I can make a pull request of this. It makes it easier for the guy to test it, and then I'm going to see if I can make a test case for this. Our HTTP2 tests are a bit, well, not ideal, but maybe I can. This was at least easy to reproduce for a while, so maybe I can. H2 close pause stream master let's claim it fixes that. I'm not sure exactly if it does yet, but there. Forgot the browser again in the stream. Okay. So there. It is annoying that it doesn't show the pull request number here. It just shows the commit. Because I didn't do any pull request. I'm not as good as I should be. Bam. 33.99. Now it says. Yeah, I have Simon Stålenhag's images. I actually have them rotating in my background. So yes, that's I like his images. So they show up there every time. Since my streaming program, it seems to lose the browser every once in a while. So I go back and forth between these different scenes, and sometimes the browser is gone. So I need to fetch it again. Would appreciate if you could verify how it behaves for you. Like this. Look. That's my left screen right now. Where am I? Playing around with this, going back to browser. Okay, I think that was a pretty good find. And that was bug number 6 for today. And I have a really nasty one coming up. Let's do it. Race conditions when using shared connections. Or should I do the test case first? Let me see if I can do a test case for the HTTP2 problem first. That's the question. How are they marked? They are marked HTTP2. Upgrade refused. Get with upgrade. Yeah, we can check out the 1700. So what if I just go 1700, dive right in, 1703. Jesus. I'm going to import the 1700 into 1703. Just do some. I can't do things correctly. Replace 1700 with 1703. If I do that, does it work? Just like that, it should do. Rebuild the test stuff so that it's fresh and fine and even though I think this test is using the regular curl tool, which is pretty nice because then I actually don't usually have to rebuild everything since it just uses the curl tool. So boom. That works, of course, but yeah, it was supposed to. So HTTP2 get with max file size, right? What's better? So HTTP2, what does it do? It makes 2 requests. And we want to do 2 requests. We want to make the first, well, if we do max file size and we only accept what? 10 bytes. And we say that the first one is larger than 10 bytes. It's 12 bytes. Foo. And there's a new line too. So the 11 bytes and a new line. That is 12 bytes. And we do a second one that is 6 bytes. So the first one should fail, the second one should work. Switching protocols. Right, it'll do the upgrade dance first. Let's see what it does. HTTP2 over clear text HTTP. That is interesting, but not necessarily bad, right? Max file size exceeded. Reusing existing connection. Ha! Yes, it seems to work. Of course, I haven't tried it without the patch. And I need to fix the... What do I need to fix? The protocol part, because now it doesn't say it's 6, it actually says... Oh, it gets cut off there, so it doesn't report anything. Because immediately on that header, it'll stop. Okay, that is fun. HTTP2 with max file size. So let's say that this is all we need. Test 1703, verify max file size with HTTP2, and I'm going to try to revert that one, because I can just do it now locally. Rebuild without the fix and see what the test case says. Ideally now this will fail. If it doesn't, I need to do something else. If it works. So a bad test case then. Maybe then because it sends so little data. I use it with -k and then it saves a temporary file, so I can just look at what it says. Max stopped the pause stream. It actually says stopped the pause stream. So it's not from the same code path. Stopped the pause stream. Yeah, I'm thinking this is one of the problems with actually using the real network for writing test cases, because it sometimes gets so different when I do it on localhost, and especially when I do small packets back and forth, comparing to doing it from a real server. And this isn't using HTTPS, this is plain HTTP, so the amount of data is certainly much smaller here. I'm thinking maybe I will just start out by trying a much larger packet. So if I do this is 3000 bytes. no problem with that. I have another little fun trick that I do at times. I can at least try it. I can make the HTTP server send the data really slow. It's just a little bit too slow to actually use for real, but I can see if I can use it to reproduce the problem first. And I can never quite remember exactly what syntax or how exactly I did this, so I need to read my own docs for it to remember. So this adds a delay of 1 second between each write from the test server, which isn't per byte, but it is per, I think, per 200 bytes or something like that. So it'll take many seconds to send 3000 bytes. But it didn't change anything. Well, in the problematic case, we also had more streams going, right? Okay, it wasn't that easy. I'll leave that for now. I'm going to just go back to my patch owner state in this branch. There it is. And then I'm going to focus on this other horrible thing. Let me first go get a fresh cup of coffee. So enjoy my Emacs for a while, and I'll be back in 2 minutes. Good news. It seems getting a coffee is a good thing. Great. A thumbs up for that then. There, I did a thumbs up in the patch or in the issue even. Lovely. Then we just need to make sure that it builds green, but I think so. Oh, that's green now too, and that is green. Oh, that is red. Okay. First, let's go and fix this. Leave the race condition for another second. Okay, this is fine, I think. This is another take on the problem that I'd already fixed before, but we're fixing it again because I did it wrong. It fixes 3366 and it closes 3390. Boom. And we remove the local branch. And it should say something here. Boom. Delete branch. We're good. Thank you. Okay, I'm just going to check what I messed up here because I've been... Maybe I didn't. Maybe it's just AppVeyor. Or maybe I did. AppVeyor, where are we? That looks like AppVeyor problems. I don't think this is genuine. These test cases failed 1509. This is a typical annoying AppVeyor problem that we have. Well, it's not a problem with AppVeyor, it's a problem with our tests in AppVeyor. So let's rerun them. Travis hasn't completed yet. How does Travis do for this? 1 failure, 2 failures. Why? Disable HTTP. Oh, maybe I forgot something about disable the FTP. This could be a genuine thing. Scroll down. Where are we? So, okay, I guess it's an annoying thing they've started with it, Travis. They made the page much longer than this content. So if I do page down, I end up far down in a lot of white. Okay, so the tests that fail are 1405 and 1407, and both of them are testing the --libcurl option. And in this case, this is a HTTP disabled. Wait, is it? Disable HTTP. It is. So 1405 when run without HTTP. Apparently we do something that makes us not send this option. I suppose that is because this option actually doesn't work when you build libcurl without HTTP support. Okay, I'm saving that one too. So now back to the actual here because I haven't dealt with it. It was filed a day ago. Race condition when using shared connections. The same connection data gets used in two contexts. Ooh. Using this option. Setting DNS servers as a option is only possible to do if you're building with CARES, which, to be honest, I tend to do. For some reason, for me, a benefit with using CARES is that we get asynchronous DNS resolves without using threads, and it makes it slightly easier sometimes to debug without, so that I don't have to use threads and things get slightly more controlled. As I can see during debugging, the same connection data gets used into connect, and that results in a crash. Like 67 threads, that seems great. I wrote an example that uses what did I call that? Shared connection cache. I think that is what he's doing. So when you use the share API, you create a share object, and you set up sort of mutex functions and what the share object is supposed to hold, and then you use that share object as pass in that handle to all the curl handles that should use that share object. Yes, coffee now. I'm not sure if that's good or bad, but so I'm a bit over 2 hours of streaming, and a few bugs in. And by the way, this is the bug. Passes the share there, yeah. So all the threads, 67 threads. Doesn't really matter. These settings help reproduce the issue faster. So obviously, why does it matter if it sets TCP keep alive? That should be rather transparent for us, right? Okay, so he puts that to a server that doesn't respond. That's also weird, because that's not, I mean, it's not even the connection. Ooh, but he is also sharing DNS. Okay, let me I don't think I have a proper test for this either. So I'm thinking maybe I should just run the example first, or nah, let's dive right in. Let's copy his example here. Copy over to the editor. Where is my editor? There it is. Share con.c, and it's kaboom. Doesn't really matter. TNS. But since I'm building there, if this is, it just takes longer to reproduce the segmentation fault. But okay, let's keep it. Share con. Disconnect assertion. So assertions are good. So obviously closing connection. So we have easy handles in the curl API. You create them for a transfer. But when you're doing a transfer, it may then use a connection, and they're not necessarily one-to-one mapped. Well, they often aren't. So that we have a pool of connections internally. So these easy handles use a connection, and there's data in both the easy handle and in the connection objects. And it's a little bit fiddly at times to know where to store data and if data is related to the connection or if it's related to the transfer. And it's not. Sometimes we do mistakes and put them in the transfer when they're related to connection and vice versa, and then stuff happens. So here it's clearly doing something wrong, and we can see here that it's, I guess it's the con cache remove con here that changed. Maybe we could do the assert around that one. Rebuild. Rebuild. If you want to read what I use, what you're seeing in the stream, I mentioned that on the. If you're going down on my home stream page on Twitch, there I mentioned, I listed the OS and and software and stuff that you see here, and actually what hardware I'm running this on. It's nothing particular. It's a Debian Linux. It's an old machine. Okay, so if I run this, it says segmentation fault, slightly different. Oh, okay. Oh well, it says the assertion first, right? And then it says segmentation fault. So it asserts first. There it says 790. Oops. I'm looking at the wrong window here. And there it is, 790. That's the one even before count cache remove. So then I'm going to I suppose that will trigger now. So it'll be the disconnect. Hey, I'm old and cranky. I got the right to use my own editor as I see fit. I've used Emacs since even before Vim existed. So that's my home editor. I like it. I think I feel productive with it, and I have no desire to change editor really. And I've never understood why Vim would be a good choice, and I've never even liked it. So if I would change editor, I would probably not change it to Vim. But I think use whatever you like. That's fine. Okay, it is wrong already in the disconnect. So, okay, this gets called from somewhere that is wrong. I don't tell anyone to use whatever any editor. I'm saying that for me, Emacs is a nice tool, but it's also a tool that I've used since I'm actually not exaggerating when I say that I started using it in 1991. It wasn't as good then as it is now, but it's all those key combinations and everything, they're just there in my spine sort of, so I feel productive with it, so I'm sticking to Emacs. If condata isn't, then we do something. Then we do debug assert 0, right? Or we do something else. Generally in curl code, the data name is used for the curl easy handle pointer. We try to do that everywhere. So if the data is in all functions, data is the pointer to the easy handle, which holds the information about the particular transfer that you're using. And the con pointer is the connection pointer that points to the connection handle that is then about the particular connection. And of course, when you're while doing a transfer, you have one easy handle and you have one con pointer. So they are one of each when you're doing a transfer. But when the transfer ends, then it differs what you do with these with the handles and what happens to the data. So if I do debug it now, $7.95. So something before this. So let's sprinkle more. Something kills it. Well, that is No, that it sets it there, so of course it shouldn't. Yeah, that's almost like printf debugging, right? Add a lot of asserts and let's see which one that triggers first, and see. Let's see if there's some consistency to this, or if I'm just seeing some random hits. 780, 780, entirely without, 795. Okay, that's not good. None. Blah. Okay. Well, that's races for you, right? So, okay, in host cache prune, killed all DNS cache entries. So, okay, then I'm going to go back and remove. I don't think it's a good thing for us to mix DNS sharing and connection sharing while debugging. So I'm going to remove the DNS sharing. And hopefully maybe get some more consistent. Then 795, nothing. 795, 795, 795, 795. So okay, then it got more consistent 795. So possibly we have two bugs. Wouldn't totally surprise me. And since it comes from here, and now looking at it, I think it's perfectly fine. It should probably trigger there, because removing the connection one of these things I know I've struggled with when I made sure that the connection sharing worked. And I know I have test cases that at least test that the basic works, but it's hard to make sure that in one of these races, when doing a lot of threads, it's But in this case, it appears as if there might be a race, right? So in here, there's a lock, and there's an unlock. Doesn't really matter.com. That's not a working site, right? Is it? No. So it removes the connection, and it might remove the bundle. We don't have a bundle anymore for the connection, so it's 795 was the one that usually triggers. I wonder where it crashes then, usually. Well, that's the assert. Right, so it'll just stop on the assert. What do I do? Reduce the number of threads to see if... Can I reproduce it with a fewer number of threads? Could be. Not GDP. It would be easier, I think. I mean, yeah, it still does that. Does it do it even with 2? Maybe not as easily with 2. Maybe 5. It doesn't actually matter that much, but I want to reduce it from 6 to 7 just to make sure that it would be better with a... Yeah. Curl tool everywhere. And not only the curl tool, it's actually, well, right now it's mostly libcurl, not the curl tool. The curl tool doesn't use this feature, so this bug isn't really affecting the curl tool. This is affecting some application using libcurl in this way. So something is changing that con data without having it locked. And that's not good. It's not that many assigns. No lock mentioned. No block mention, but hardly the pause function because that's not used here. It's really strange because you would imagine that they wouldn't even share the connection since they're, I mean, they're not multiplexing this. So one transfer would use the connection, the connect struct, and then when it's done return it, and it's not, I don't know what's happening. Right, that's what it does. Is still name resolving. Seems related, right? Since it crashes just in association to that. The cache now contains 4 members. The cache now contains 3 members. Continue down this list. No, sorry, wrong list. Go back to grep on this. Disconnect. Why? So something is grabbing the connection before it's returned or something like that. That's not... and I will enjoy getting a lot of the pipelining code out of this. Let's see, what did we say about pipelining? Wrong document, where are we? Docs deprecate, there we are. Pipelining, removal. So we removed support for pipelining in 762. So we said we will remove the code in April. Yeah, that'll be good. We have a lot of crap left from pipelining. I would be happy to remove that. So yes, I am Daniel. So, but okay, we're going to live with a pipelining code for a while longer then. I'm going to focus on returning the connection and getting it back, because I think that is somehow the problem. Curl disconnect, that's where we are. Curl disconnect. The connection isn't reused because it's not actually connected to anything, so it can't reuse it. So it's a connect struct that is allocated, but there's no connection yet because it'll do first the name resolve and then do the connection, but the name resolve fails, so it it seems that it's bad somehow. The curl disconnect, that's called in a few different places. Can recommend my little blog post on the world's biggest curl installations, and yeah, Windows is quite a big user of curl these days since they ship it with Windows 10, which makes them, I think, well, depending on how you count, the second biggest curl installation, but then I count mobile phones in just one generic category as the biggest one. Which of course isn't really correct, maybe, because there are so many different mobile phone pieces that are using curl in different ways. iPhone, iOS might then possibly be the biggest, but and then there are a lot of, maybe not the biggest even, since a lot of Google applications are using curl in them, and I'm not sure exactly if the YouTube app on Android is bigger than iOS in general in numbers across the globe. I don't know. So this is the multi-done function, which, well, we are using async name resolving. So it'll end up in the state wait resolve, and in there it will fail. And what happens then? Well, I'm actually not going to explain exactly what curl has been around since a long time. It does internet transfers in a stable way. I think curl has become just the thing, the tool and the library that's there for you, and it's fast, it's portable, it's available, it's free, it's open, it's relatively bug-free, so it's easy for everyone to use it. And it runs on everything, all operating systems, every CPU, everything you can imagine. So I think that is some reasons why they use curl. Otherwise, I mean, I'm not sure why everybody uses curl. They don't tell me, they just use it. And I just like to figure out when people are using it, and I collect my screenshots of people using it, and apparently quite a few do. Once resolved. And possibly also some reasons why people would use libcurl as well. It's not only that it's C and it's available everywhere, but it's also, we have an API that hasn't really changed in a very long time. So it's a stable API, you can trust it, it has the same behavior. You could build an application 15 years ago and you can update to the latest libcurl today and it'll just work with the latest libcurl. And that's one of the benefits that you really can't get with a lot of other libraries, or if you're using, for example, if you dig out the network code from some other tool or something, that sort of stability is really hard to get. Did not output that. Or is it just, sometimes it's a bit annoying that it might be a non-flushed stream, or it's suppose spelled print. Well, HTTP 3 is not a project of mine. That's a project of the IETF, and I'm not that. I'm not working with HTTP 3 as much. I'm mostly following it along closely, and I'm hoping and intending to support it in curl at some point in time. But otherwise, most of my projects are. Most of the things I do at my are related to curl in various ways. So I work with C-ARES, I work with libsh2, and I work with the transport protocols like HTTP and QUIC in the IETF, but they're all centered around curl. So curl is what I spend by far the most time on. So I don't get it. So I'm going to set a breakpoint somewhere in 795. So I'm going to make it if I want to check where that comes from, which which particular disconnect is calling that. It wasn't the one I thought. Okay, but that was another. Christ, what happens now? There it is. Then it comes from the multi 2140. Okay, that's fair. It ends up there. It looks like it's the correct place to end up. So passes in the connection and he has the data handle. That is all good. Let's see if it's that reproducible. 2140. Yeps. Oh no, that was another one. So maybe well, if some big company contacted me yet, I don't have a problem with getting in touch with big companies. So I'm not employed by anyone now since I quit Mozilla, but it's not because I don't have contacts or not. I'm not being contacted by people who want to employ me. It's more of a question of what I want to do and when I want to do it. So right now I've basically I've decided that I won't make up my mind exactly what I want to do or what I'm going to do until after New Year. So therefore I won't decide or won't sign up with anyone or do anything until next year. And I'm actually not exactly sure how I want to do what I want to do or whatever I want to do. So it's a good time to just think about things and work on curl in the meantime. Stream on Twitch and chase race conditions in the code. It's an awesome way to spend your spare time, right? So there's a race somewhere where we get the connection and we return it to the pool, and obviously there's a race here that we don't do that correctly, or I don't, or the code doesn't, or whoever it is. But well, I'm already writing so many things. So I since I wrote the HTTP 3 explained, well, it's also not actually completed. I mean, that's more of a work in progress. And another work in progress is my Everything Curl book, which is also well, that's a much larger effort too. That's huge, and that's going on. And I'm actually also still refreshing the HTTP 2 explained every now and then. I get a lot of bug reports and pull requests on that. So I try to maintain it, at least polish the bugs that people are reporting, even if HTTP 2 is a little bit old or passé now. It's not old in that it's not gone. I mean, people are still using it and still getting there, but the document isn't as important or needed anymore. Oh, by the way, I can show you on this video. So this, where's my mouse point? This is how the Everything Curl looks like in a physical world. So on dead trees. So we actually have done a few prints of this. So it says here, it's the, I don't know if it's visible on the camera, but it actually says which edition it is. It's the February 2018 edition, or if it's March, I don't remember. But so this is 200 and almost 250 pages in a printout, and it has grown since. Even it hasn't grown that much. It should grow more, since I try to keep the Everything Curl is supposed then to document everything that is that's curl, and we've added more things to curl than I have managed to add to the book. So there are more sections to add to the book. Actually, the other day I reached 90% of all sections in the book with text, so there are about 10% sections left blank for now. So, but then there are sections missing too. So maybe, yeah. Well, I work on that every now and then. There are, I think, around 70,000 words in that book. It's a lot of text, and it's actually, some of the things are a bit difficult to write about. It's slightly boring at times too, so yeah, I need to do other things in the meantime. Mix it up with some race condition races. So back to my terminal. Now actually I'm only going to continue for another 8 minutes or so, because then I'm going to grab my son and go and find some lunch, because he has finished school for this semester and my daughter hasn't, so she's very jealous of him, and my wife is at work and I'm in my fancy home office. So okay, can I do anything on the 7 minutes until noon? Disconnect. Why is this a problem? The connection cache. Extract oldest, extract bundle. Return connection. It feels like I need to do some extra checks to make sure that we don't actually extract the connection before it is returned, or whatever, blah blah blah. Yes, that is what I'm going to do. Return connection. It has a connection. Connection ID. That's the one I want. So start out with some debug output here. This says return to pool. Okay. If we info F, it's called. So there are no return to pool in there. Why are there no return to pool? Oh, sorry, wrong directory. Okay, so I need to get the reverse to when it finds a connection. Finds the connection in the connection bundle that has been unused for the longest time. That's the function it uses. Nothing of that either. Oh, right, but it doesn't reuse anything. So it's not, that's not a big surprise. So it's actually create connection. So I guess something is wrong on my print. I guess no data is fine. Oh, contemp. It's not contemp in there. It's because that's 0 pointed there. It's supposed to be con. Okay, I have some more work to do on this on my own. I'll run off and do that. I might stream again. Maybe tomorrow morning. I think maybe the same time as today. I'll decide during the afternoon. I'll set up an event. You can see it here on Twitch if you want to. I'll probably mention something on Twitter too. I'll shut down this now, and I have this race condition to continue to work on. I'm going to see if I can merge my HTTP 0.9 pull request soon, and I'm sure there will be some other fun bug reports popping up soon as well. I'm a bit surprised that I haven't gotten an update on my OSS fuzz fixes, because I fixed the timeout thing. I thought the fuzzing thing no longer is a problem in the Travis builds, but the OSS fuzz reports are still waiting for them to notice that I fixed it, or maybe I didn't fix them good enough. Okay, see you again tomorrow then. Bye.